Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of FaB GaB. I'm happy to be doing this because it's been a while since I did a FaB GaB show where we take an album, whether it's group or solo, by the Beatles and start ranking the songs from least favorite, and it's just favorite, to most favorite. What we enjoy the least to the best, I guess you could say. And tonight we're going to be doing Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, the 2005 album that Paul did, along produced with the help of Nigel Godrich, and it was not the easiest one to rank. Though, is it right? A little tough.
Really, really tough. I think it's such a strong album.
And
Yeah,
joining us was Tom Hunyadi and Beatley Tone, as you can see. Yeah.
Right.
So, what are you saying, Tom?
no, I was saying, I knew my top half. It was the bottom half that was just really the tougher.
Yeah, I did all right with the top 4 or 5, and then I was like, where do I put these things? And I think a lot of my picks are going to surprise people. All right, let's first talk a little bit about the album. When you first heard it, what did you think, and also where it may rank? It doesn't have to be the exact number, but generally in Paul's catalog, where would you rank it? So, Tom, how about you?
Yeah, well, thanks, Joe, for having me. First of all, and Tom,
Sure.
good to see you, and everybody out there, hello. The album for me, I mean, the first thing you notice right off right off the bat is the tone of the album. It's definitely a very different tone that you're not used to in a McCartney record. So that took a little bit of getting used to. However, I did find it to be a very strong lyrically of a record, which I don't think we've gotten from Paul in a while. Although, I just think Flaming Pie has some good lyrics in there too. But I just thought that this was a very exceptional lyrical album. And arrangements wise too. But again, it's just more of a tone thing in the same vein as maybe like Plastic Ono Band, which I know, Joe, you've said several times that you think that this is kind of similar to you would say that this is Paul's Plastic Ono Band, and I agree and disagree a little bit about that statement, but I thought that this was a top-notch album. I think it's his best of this century, and I think it's a top 5 McCartney record, period. So, yeah.
High praise. I'll just want to tell you before I let Tone go. My feeling is when I first got this album, and it's hard to believe, 20 years ago, it's the 20th anniversary this year,
Right,
of this album. I played it in my car on the CD. As much as I love Paul, it's surprising how many albums the first time I've heard them, I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is grabbing me. I was like that with the album New. At first, I was like, I don't know about this. I always say, like, where's the hooks? Where's the earworm and stuff? And then New went on to become one of my favorite Paul albums of all. I sometimes put it in my top 5. Same thing with this album. I didn't like this album when I first heard it too much, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be tough. I don't know if this is going to be a grower or not. And it eventually grew on me to the point where I really like it. And one of the reasons is because, and I'm going to change this a little bit, Tom, as you said, I used to say all the time, this is the closest, in my opinion, that Paul's come to John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band, in the sense that it's more vulnerable, it's more honest, it's more pain, it's more deep. It's not just happy-go-lucky, la-di-da, cheerful stuff. This is like, let's, get somber here sometimes, And that's how I feel up to going into this. And then, without revealing too much, just today I was looking for some stuff here, research and quotes from Paul, and some of the songs he would say, like typical Paul, he was like, well, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of like I get a phrase that sounded good, so I kind of made a song around it. I'm like, okay, I thought don't ruin that for me. I thought it was like your pain and your kind of you to think of me, for example. That's just something that he heard, or he the way they say it. In England or something, they might say it that way. So let's write a song around that. Not that he's thinking of anybody personally that he addressing it to. Anyway, I like the album now. I think it's really good. I was going to say modern album, even though it's 20 years, for the 2000s, after 21st century. I don't know where I'd place it right now. It's in my top 10 for sure. I don't know, it's hard to say 7, 6, 7, 8, something like that out of like 20 something albums, So, okay, Tone, how about you?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a slow burner for me because because the upbeat songs are quite rare on this album. There's only really a couple of them, but I remember. It wasn't as slow a burner as Driving Rain was for me because that took me a real long time to love that album. But I remember when this came out, 2005. And we didn't have YouTube and all that sort of thing. We had forums, didn't we? Where we spoke to other Beatles fans or whatever. And I remember saying at the time that I thought it was the most mature album that is made. Which it doesn't seem so weird now, but he was 63 at the time, so he was fairly mature. Do you know what I mean? But that's kind of how I feel. Yeah, he's the same age as you, Joe. So yeah, and but for me, this album is just so strong. This is top 3 or 4 for me.
Wow, that's really saying something. Okay,
I had real trouble ranking these.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about Nigel Godrich first. Tom, fill us in a little on Nigel.
Well, he was a producer for Radiohead. A lot of success with Radiohead. He produced my favorite Radiohead album called Kid A. I know that's not the more popular, maybe the most popular opinion on that, but I particularly love this album. I think part of the tone from this album comes from Nigel, and I think as we know, he challenged Paul. He just didn't. If Paul brought in some subpar stuff, he was ballsy enough to tell Paul. So, and I think that's one of the great things about Nigel and their working relationship was, that he didn't have any problem telling Paul, no, that's just not good enough. So yeah, and then mutations from Beck too. So Nigel is a very accomplished. Very knowledgeable, great producer. So when I heard that Paul was working with Nigel on this, I was kind of excited and kind of worried at the same time because, again, Nigel is a fantastic producer, but you don't really know which way he's going to bring Paul in and kind of like or how he's going to challenge Paul. And I think it was a success. I mean, obviously they've never worked together again, and I'm sure they've had their difficulties in the studio while recording this album, and maybe that's for the best because I don't know how many these kind of albums from Paul I could really take, but this was a great combo, a good pair.
Well, there was some problems. There were a couple of songs where Paul was like, I like this, and Nigel was like, I don't. And he's like,
right,
well,
yeah. Writing the Vanity Fair was the main one where Paul presented that. And then if you have the 2-disc compilation, or not compilation, but the 2-disc version of this, there's the one is the DVD. He popped it in and he's talking about every track on there. And Paul had said that, when he presented Writing the Vanity Fair, Nigel didn't like it at all. And you can hear a faster version of that song.
Yeah, it was fast. He wanted to slow it down.
Yeah, right. So, but I'm glad that Paul stuck up with the song because what became of it, I think, is I'll say more when I get.
Yeah, we'll get to it. All right. Well, let's do it. There are 13 tracks here, okay, to get through. And if anybody cares to play along, I'll do the best I can. I can't say I can put up everybody's comment because we have a certain time restriction here. Tom's got to be somewhere. We should be able to be fine.
Yeah.
But what we do is we take this one track at a time. You know what I mean? Don't list all your songs. Just we'll start with from the least favorite to most favorite. And to start with number 13, Tom, I'm going to have you start. What do you have for the bottom of the list?
We're not including the.
I was just going to say. Yes,
we're not including We're not including. There's an instrumental.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And thanks, Tom, for bringing that up.
And plus, anyways, I had that at number 14, anyways, and it's a track called "I've Only Got Two Legs." No, just kidding.
Did that screw?
It's called "I've Only Got Two Hands." Hey, what do you mean you had two legs? Anyways, but
he's doing a Laurel and Hardy routine, I think. Why didn't you tell me you only had
two legs? Yeah,
you only had
or something like that. Anyway.
I hope that doesn't screw up. That doesn't screw tone up too much. I hope you had it 14.
No, it hasn't. But I've just realised that I've written all my numbers against the 13 tracks, and I've missed one out. So I've gone wrong somewhere. So I'll carry on, Tom, and I'll just
my
numbers.
All right.
All right. So let me grab the album here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've got on 13. I've got "Follow Me," which it's a nice song, and I do want to say that I like to love every track on this album. There isn't a song that I hate on this album, which I'm happy to say. But "Follow Me," I mean, again, there is a lot of slow, more ballads on this album, but to me, "Follow Me" was the least of the my least favorite of the slower songs on this song. I just, it's a nice little piano number, but I just don't think it's strong enough to get into the to get into my top 10 or anything like that. So it's a fine track, but I don't think it's anything to talk to write home to mom about. So
I don't hate any of the tracks either, Tom. So, okay. Tony, are you okay and settled with that?
Yeah, I've sorted it out now. Yeah.
All right, so give us your number 13 at the back of the list.
Okay, so my number 13 is also "Follow Me." So pretty much for the same. I like. There's no tracks that I don't like on this song, but this is a decent ballad, but it meanders a little bit, I think. And for no particular reason, but that I like the other tracks better than this. So something's got to come last, and it's
there you go. Yep.
Sure. All right. Okay. I also there's no track on here that I dislike. I'm okay with every track on this album as well. Okay. Number 13 for me. Now I know there are going to be surprises here. People are going to be like, "What?" I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. I don't even know if I'm sure of these because I'm pretty familiar with the album, but I could use another listen. Even though I played it, I think 3 months ago or something. But anyway, number 13, I've got it. You ready for this? "Promise to You, Girl."
Oh, okay.
That's one of the few upbeat ones, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just keep thinking of that part of the song. "I promise to you, girl," and I'm like, it's a little. To me, it's clunky, a little erratic, all over the place. I don't find it catchy too much, So I don't hate it or nothing. That's why I say, I like all the songs to some point, but I put it at number 13.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So now, Tone, I'm going to start with you for track 12.
Let me just check okay. Right. So I'm just taking my list. I've got about 3 pages of notes here, so I'll keep having to turn over. My number 12 is "At the Mercy," and I'm not sure. Again, I like this song, but there's others that I like more. I'm not sure whether this is a breakup song or he's talking about maybe moving on to another relationship. I don't know if Nancy was on the scene at this time. Probably not. I don't know. But there's that lyric, "You'd never make me choose between the love I've got and the love I'd lose." And so that sounds as if he's about to break up with someone, but he's also got someone else there there as well. And it's a song that I do really like, but there's just others that I like more. And that's my number.
Well, I don't know if this is since you mentioned it, maybe this is the point I could say. Earlier, I was talking about how, you think, well, what's this about? Who's this about?
Yeah.
And I got a quote from Paul, two different quotes, which kind of contradict each other. One of them was, he said, "At the mercy."
Contradict each other? What?
You think that's possible? There's a sort of message. He says that life can throw you curveballs, and what do we do about it? Just keep on being resolute, whatever you do. In general. Then there was another one where I think it was. He said it wasn't really. He doesn't know. He said, "I don't even know what it's about." Really, something like that. I'm sorry, but hey, I'll get to that song later, and so will Tom. So Tom, you're next. Number 12.
Thank you. And Tone, I don't know if this is hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come, but my number 12 is also At the Mercy.
Guys, man, you're not going to be happy with me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's just like I was weighing between this and Follow Me as my least favorites on the album. But there's one lyric in At the Mercy that I absolutely adore. And that's sometimes I'd rather run and hide than stay and face the fear inside. So that's the saving grace for that track for me. Again, I mean, there's little bits, like I said, I think it's a very strong lyrical album, and that's one of my favorite lyrics from the album. In that track, but that's the only thing I really love about that song. Again, I mean, it's very piano heavy too. This album, and as well as this track. So
I didn't know until I did some research. Paul plays almost all the instruments on it too.
I mean, it was close to being a McCartney, DIY type album, but there are also kind of a few people here and there that provide flutes and other stuff like that. So
yeah. It sort of started off as being a band album, didn't it? And the first sessions were with the touring band, and then Nigel Godrich said that the
band's got to go. I mean, he pulled a George
just to be Paul, yeah.
Yeah, he pulled a George Martin. Yeah, sorry guys, just one Paul.
Oh, that's the thing. And supposedly Nigel said something about, like, I don't know the exact quote, something like, "I just want to tell you, I tell it like it is, or I have opinions," or something to that effect. Right. And, Paul wasn't happy. He said at one point he was thinking I should fire this guy or something. But then he said, one of the quotes I read, he said, "But no, that's what he's here for." Right. To tell him what's good, what he should do different. Telling Paul McCartney what to do. Right. That's pretty incredible. He got a good album.
It takes some balls, doesn't it?
To say the least. All right. Okay. Number 12. I have Anyway. I don't know. Maybe because it's at the end of the album, I don't regard it as well. I don't know why. I'm finding that some of my bottom. Well, I don't want to. Is later in the album. I don't really know. It's not bad. I think it's for me is one of the slighter tracks. It's one of the very few times, the only time I could think of, because I'm trying to find examples maybe where Paul's pinching songs from something else. And to me, I always thought it sounded a little like People Get Ready. That song, the melody to it a little bit. And that's, unlike like with John, you can find a lot of times where he nicked stuff. Paul, I don't find so many times, but it's still a nice little tune. It's just a little slight for me compared to some others. So I noticed that we don't have many participants. That's okay. I don't think this album is as well known actually, so we don't have many people playing along. Let's see. It says Fine Line is one of my favorites on the album as well. It's a shame they haven't done another record together. But obviously there was tension. Great sounding album. Well, hopefully Paul thinks it was worth it because it's considered, one of his better albums of, later years overall.
Yeah. Tom, you said that he produced Kid A, which is your favorite Radiohead album. Do you know off the top of your head? Did he produce the Bends, which is my favorite Radiohead album? I'm not.
I'd have to go back and check, but I mean,
if you know off the top of your head.
Not off the top of my head, no.
No, okay. No worries. No worries.
All right, the next one. When I get to the next one, it'll shock us too. But anyway, Tom, lead us off for track number 11.
Where you just ended with 12. Anyway, is my number 11. He does like they have these, little, these nice little numbers to close albums out. And I think it's a nice track to close out an album. I know he did do the song in Italy. I think he premiered the song live in Italy, as a matter of fact. But I don't think he's done it since. But it's a good track, and again, I was listening to it again today. I listened to this album a couple times this weekend, and I'm like, maybe this is a song that if I, listen to it a few more times, maybe I'll place it, a little higher in my list. But for now, it's going to stick with number 11 for me right now. Anyway, again, I know, a nice little piano ballad from Paul, and I think it's a mid-tier piano ballad at best, in my opinion, from Paul.
Okay, Eric says, I can't help but feel that this album might have a somber tone because of how things may have been at home. He separated from his second wife the very next year.
Yeah, maybe. I think that Paul, very much like John, writes his best stuff when he's kind of under pressure, or there's something going on in his life that's not great. And I think that the fact that they were breaking up is probably one of the reasons why it's such a strong album for me. But others think differently. I know.
Right. Get a little. Maybe I'm amazed. It's still your best song, Paul. In my world, I ever wrote.
Yeah.
Wow, he wrote so many hundreds of great songs. So I can't say it. All right, Tone, give us your choice for number 11.
Okay, so we finally disagree.
That's
my number 11 is how kind of you. So I've written about it. Again, it's a song that I really like it. I've put interesting tape loops. Of harmonium and guitar, which I think are played by Nigel Godrich, and nice sort of twinkling piano parts in this. There's lots of subtle things on this album that if you listen on headphones, you can hear there's lots of things going on. And halfway through, the acoustic guitar comes in and sort of gives it a little bit more of a fuller sound, which I really like.
That's the song. Is that the song that goes dun, dun, dun. Yeah. I like when it gets like that. Dun dun.
I've just sort of summed it up by saying, it's not a top-notch McCartney ballad, but it's still a good one, and it's very musical, and I like that about it. So.
All right, man. I don't know. Get the tomatoes ready to throw at me right now. I'm telling you. I don't even want to say it.
You said tomatoes and not tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm saying it. Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's Friends to Go.
Oh.
How can I say that? It's another one that's a little more, for this album, is a little more charged, a little bit more peppy.
Yeah.
The thing I always find interesting is that he says, Paul said that he was kind of channeling George Harrison, and feeling the spirit and stuff like that, feeling it was like the way George would write a song. And I'm wondering, does it feel like something George would write? I don't know about that. But
I've always contemplated that as well. I mean, I think he means more musically than lyrically. I don't think this is like
musically. I don't know.
Lyric-wise, I don't think George would have wrote a song like this. But melody-wise, with the acoustic guitar intro, in the changes throughout, I mean, maybe, but I really have a hard time seeing the influence, the George Harrison influence in the song.
Yeah, I don't feel that. For years I thought to myself, oh, he wrote it like about George,
Right.
But no, he was talking about, it was a George-like tune or song.
Right.
He might have written.
I agree. I mean, I've never been able to see that connection, lyrically, that it was anything to do with George or anything. But there is that bit, the very last verse on this song, have a listen to the backing vocals, and it kind of sounds a little bit like the Wilburys or a little bit like George on Cloud Nine, the kind of Jeff Linney type sound. Just that on that last verse, the backing vocals do sound a bit George-esque, but that's just my thought on it. But
okay.
This is Ted says, I love the album, but there's a sadness to the entire album, maybe not Fine Line. Sometimes can't play the album. Rare that a Paul album makes me sad. Great lyrics and well produced. Yeah, but that's what I like about it, though, that part. The fact that it's a little more heart-tugging or as I say, somber, or a little more down than usual from Paul.
Right.
You know, something different. We have plenty of upbeat stuff, you know. The other day, I heard Good Day Sunshine not once but twice on the radio while driving my car. You know.
Poor guy.
Great song. Just a little tired of it. You know, that's about all. All right. Shall we move on to number 10 now? And for number 10, start with Tone.
Okay, maybe I'll get the tomatoes thrown at me this time. So my number 10 is Fine Line. So what have I put back to Fine Line? So, you know, obviously it's very poppy. I like the dueling guitar and piano where they're kind of going against it. Some interesting string parts in that that you can listen out for, and because they're not that up front, you kind of hear them kind of come in and go out and come in and go out. So interesting arrangement on that. And I kind of like that bit of the final verse of that where he's singing it, and then the backing vocals are "It's a fine line, it's a fine line," and then the verse finishes, and then he's just left singing "It's a fine line, it's a fine line." It's got a nice sort of thumping, you know, sort of ending, and you know, as we've said, it's just, you know, it's one of the upbeat songs on the record. So yeah, I like it. It's my number 10.
Good. Okay, Tom, you're up for number 10.
Okay, so I'll just say, you know, number 10 is A Certain Softness. I do like it musically. I don't think the falsetto style that he's kind of singing it really works for my ears for this song. I mean, it's not a full falsetto singing here, but
You're saying it didn't get you hooked?
No, it didn't get me hooked. The song didn't get me hooked, but it's still good. But again, though, I still really dig the arrangements in this song, and I mean, I enjoy it. I don't skip it for anything, but it's just not a song that you know, I look forward to in the album. But then once I hear it, you know, once I hear the arrangements of the song, I do like it. But lyrically and the way he sings it, you know, as he's getting older, his falsetto voice isn't, you know, obviously strong. It's not, you know, so bad anymore, unfortunately. But it's, you know, it's a good song, but I think it would have been 10 times better if he had done it like, you know, 20 years prior.
You know, I think I'm not 100% sure, but in retrospect, this might be the first time that I ever detected some Paul voice changes of
voice
notes.
change. Right
on this album.
On the album,
definitely.
And I think
his voice is still really good. It's really
good.
No,
it's good.
But I definitely noticed a change. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's still good. But I noticed there was something, and that was one of the parts too that you mentioned it. That falsetto, Tom.
Right.
Got me hooked.
Yeah.
Got me hooked.
Hooked. Yeah.
He really pronounces like hooked.
Yeah.
Really careful. I don't know, dentures. I don't know. But anyway, anyway. I have another song here that's nobody has. It's like number 10. I have This Never Happened Before.
Oh,
it's
wow.
you know, it's a nice. They got it number 1. These guys, I see. I don't know why. You know, maybe I need another. I could have done a fresh listen for this. I mean, I thought it's pretty good in my head from the past listens. You know, maybe, you know, if I had listened to it fresh, maybe for this, I didn't think I needed to. Maybe I'd feel differently. You know, it's good. I mean, it's, you know, it's a good song. Just favorite wise, I got it at number 10. Not much to say about that one, really. I guess I'm thinking before. That's pretty good. Pretty good song. Wait a minute. Are you serious? My favorite tune is "I've Only Got Two Hands." Not kidding. Love a good Paul instrumental. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
All right. There's a really nice piano bit in the middle of that instrumental that's really good piano playing from Paul.
Yeah, it's a kind of a 3-part instrumental, isn't it? Kind of changes twice before it finishes, and it's a decent instrumental.
And the somber mood of this album is a good answer to those who dismiss Paul as shallow and poppy without emotional depth. Thank you, Nigel Godrich. It shows that he has emotional depth, thinking, and broad range of feeling. Yeah, it's not all one way, and Paul's not all soft bubblegum sap, and John Lennon wasn't all like weird and deep thinking. He had a lot of soft stuff on his side. All right, where are we at now? We're up to number 9. Let's see what we got here. Not only has he got 2 hands, he's got 2 legs. Okay.
Yeah.
One last in my top 5. Anyway, wow. Well, this is really all over the place, kind of, I think, for me anyway. All right, now we're up to number 9.
It's interesting how we're ranking this quite differently.
Yeah, it was a tough one, Tone. Yeah, as you said,
it was really tough.
Not an easy one. All right, Tom, start us off for number 9.
Okay, so 9 is this now. This is where I really just love every track on this album. Obviously, I can rank these tracks and how much I love each one of them, but 9 for me is English Tea. And it's a really good track. I really like it, but again, I like the 8 more before, but again, I just it's fun. I love the instrumental, the orchestration before. The main songs. I love the miles and miles of English guy. I love that bit, but it's very English,
It is
like tubular bells that we hear in the middle.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
It sounds like a great thing to me.
Yeah, not the album Tubular Bells, but
No.
but it's a really good track. It's a nice, fun track, under 3 minutes, and that's another good thing about this album too. Is a lot of these, a good chunk of these songs are under 3 minutes, and I think it kind of helps some of these songs in a way. But English Tea, fun track again. I love it, but there's 8 more that I like more than this one.
All right, Tone. I'm really. This is a fun thing because I'm really. I love this though, because like I said, I don't know what anybody's going to say with this album. Right. It's great. Some albums you can almost tell, get a feel for. Okay, Tone. What do you have for number 9?
Number 9, I've got A Certain Softness. I kind of like the feel of this song, a sort of nice, sort of Latin-y feel, and with the acoustic guitar and quite an unusual sort of piano figure that's being played there. I think it's a good ballad, but it's not my number 9. But I can't really like that Latin feel that he's got on that song. But
I got that in my notes. That's what I picked up. All right, number 9. Here's another one that I think is going to be much higher. For the reason I think Tom's going to put this much higher. This is the one I was alluding to that I thought might be Tom's number 1, but now I'm not thinking so. It's about Tom. Number 9, Writing to Vanity Fair. Let me explain. It's hard to explain. First of all, when I like all these songs. Don't dislike it. When I hear it, I love the aura of it, the feel of it. I think it was a good idea that Nigel Godrich suggested slowing it down. I can't imagine it being faster. It was the right move. It's probably a top song and top 2, 3 or something like that from a technical standpoint. But what's interesting is a lot of people, myself included, suspect that it's about Heather. Like he's like voicing his opinions that he's tired of some things Heather's saying. But I read a lot of stuff where Paul said it's not Heather, and it's about some other relationship he had. Now he could just be saying that to throw her off, but taking him at his word, if he's right about that quote that I saw, and I forget who the interviewer was, they had the interviewer's name. It would not be about Heather. It's about another relationship.
The thing about Paul, the difference between Paul and John when they do songs about a specific person or whatnot, Paul tends to hide it a lot better than what John does.
Yeah, unless it's Sexy Sadie. But no, you're right. And but then I thought another quote where that it wasn't necessarily about anybody. I thought I read somewhere. I was just looking at different places where Beatles songs are, examined and analyzed, So,
I'm not the biggest fan when he does that, when he says, well, the song's not really about anybody, or I don't really know what this song is about. I mean, I'm just not the biggest fan of when he makes comments like that.
Well, he does say from time to time he likes to leave things, whatever you want
open
it to be.
To people's interpretations.
I mean, I get that too.
I think that there's a hesitancy to say a song is about Heather because of his daughter,
right?
Me. I don't think that's it's not very cool for
and what would you say
but to me the lyrics, they kind of sound, some of them sound as if they're about Heather,
yeah,
then some of them don't, because he talks a lot about friendship in that song, and I don't think
yeah, I can imagine Beatrice, in school saying, a bully coming up to her and said, your dad was open for friendship, but your mom said, get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to think too. He's still married to her and everything. Why would you say in an interview if it was about her? Why would you say it's about Heather?
No,
you couldn't, even if it was really.
No, you wouldn't.
Right.
All right. So there you go. Now we're up to number 8. Let's start with Tone, Beatley Tone for number 8.
Number 8. Too Much Rain. I've gone for.
Wow.
Number 8. What have I said about that? I think this is a great song lyrically. I like the fact that it's about kind of laughing in the face of adversity and that sort of thing. So it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it gives a bit of positivity to people that have had maybe bad things going on in their life and that sort of thing. So I kind of like it from that point of view. Quite uplifting lyrics, I think, is what I've written here. But yeah, good song.
Your problem is you've got to learn to laugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like that ending of it. And it was a stark ending.
Right.
I thought of that just now, but when I was writing my notes, I didn't think of it to say that. All right, Tom, what do you got for number 8?
It's the track that has the third or fourth word in the title of the album. This is Promise to You Girl, and I like how there's like 2 songs. The 2 upbeat songs are the ones that have the name of the album in the songs, because it opens a looking in through the backyard of my life. And we should mention that this picture was taken by his brother, Mike McCartney. And I do, when you hear the lyric to that song, and then you look at the cover, and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe this is an okay cover.
I like the cover.
I think it's I think the photograph, I think he called it Underneath the Washing Line, because it's sitting underneath the washing line. What a great title.
Right. Yeah, I mean, on the back of the album it says "Our Kid Through Mom's Neck Curtains." It's called, but I like I like the title a little bit better. But again, nice little somber kind of like opening, and then it gets into the piano rocking "Promise to You Girl," which I think is fantastic. I mean, it's really good, and it shows that between this and the other one, I mean, it's really that's all you get for like more upbeat tracks. And I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I really can't picture this album any other way, if it had more rockers or not. But it's a good one, and I like this track more and more that I hear it. So that's where my number 8 is. Promise to You, Girl.
Yeah. I put it my last track. Who knows? I mean, maybe the next time we do it, it'll be higher. That happens too, Yeah. Okay. So number 8, another one where I didn't know where to put this track or this single. I didn't know where to put it. So I put it at number 8. That's Fine Line. I have mixed feelings about this. I like it, but at the same time, I find it a forced single. It seems like to me, I don't know, one of his like more knockoff kind of sounding singles to me. I don't know why. Even though I like some of the words, I like the words in it. I like the changes in it. Come on, brother, all is forgiven. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Oh, brother, all is forgiven. But anyway, I like that bit. And the end, you reminded me of the end. It's a fine line. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. I never thought it was a really strong single. It's not bad. And for some reason, I don't say this often, but I don't think it doesn't feel like it fits the album to me as much as some of the other songs. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Is that just because it's upbeat, do you think? Or
I don't know. The style and the upbeat factor and the style, I'm noticing that although I usually love and go for tracks that are rock, I like the rock track on an album, whether it's Get Out of My Way, on Off the Ground, or especially Only Mama Knows, from Memory Almost Full. I want to hear the rock track, but this one maybe not. Maybe I'm looking for more laid back. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I've never been the biggest fan of when the person releases a single, like a month or two before the album, and then you get the album and that's the lead off track, so listen to, oh great, I've listened to this song for the last month and a half and now I get to start the album off with that. Great.
Fine Line is an anti-war song. I would think unless Paul said that, I would think with Paul, maybe not, but he's done political songs before. What is this? There is a store called Discreet Replay, which has used CDs, etc. I found this album with a hype sticker, shrink wrap for $5, $4.99.
Oh, nice.
All right, now we're way up to number 7, where I'm going to start with Tom for 7.
Yeah, this is where I put Friends to Go on there again. Really, really dig this song, but I've always, again, as we talked about it when Joe brought this up, it's just like, where is the George influence? And maybe it is where you say tone towards the end there, but I've always liked this more lyrically than arrangement wise. I've always liked, I've been waiting on the other side for your friends to go so I don't have to hide. I've really always liked that bit. I've always liked the song. Maybe like you're just a little shy, and or he's a friend that you don't want other people to know is your friend, or you know what I mean. So it's a really good track, but again, whenever I hear this, I try to keep that whole George Harrison type of thing away from it, and then I enjoy the song a lot more when I don't think about his, George Harrison influence.
Good point there.
Yeah, so that's where I got Friends to Go is number 7.
All right, Tone, what do you have for number 7?
I'm almost dreading saying what I've got as number 7. Jenny Wren, I've got at number 7.
Don't you dare say that.
It's still a great song, and a song that I really like. Obviously, it's that sort of Blackbird, Mother Nature's son type feel. Another song with the name of a bird.
Bird, yes.
Another song, another acoustic ballad that he puts up as track 3 on side 1 of an album like like Bluebird, like like Loving Song, like I'm Carrying, like I'm Open Tonight, like Somebody Who Cares. He likes to put an acoustic ballad as track 3 on side 1, and there's an instrument in this which I always thought was like a clarinet, but when I did the research on this, apparently it's a dudek, which is an Armenian wind instrument, played by Pedro Estali on this album, and apparently that was the first time that instrument had ever been played on a pop record. So there you go. It's a first for Jenny Wren.
Yes.
Yeah. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, you do. That's what I learned today, anyway.
Yeah, I learned more than one new thing from doing this. All right.
Yeah, it's a great song. I love it a lot.
Number 7 for me is where I put Follow Me. I'm surprised it made it up this high. One time I saw, he must have been doing it live. Did he do that one live, Follow Me? I think he did.
He did, yeah.
I have to go back and look. Because
I remember, then I'm thinking, why else would I remember seeing somebody holding a sign that says Follow Me? I remember that. That kind of is the first time I took a little more notice. Although maybe I saw the sign Follow Me and he wasn't singing Follow Me at the time. But anyway, I don't know. I like it. It's a nice little song. I like the tune of it. I like the bit of the words there about, when he's talking about any situation, and he's talking about whole, a sign that reads "Follow Me." He's talking about that. I like that whole bit, the sign that reads "Follow Me," any situation, the way his voice goes in those parts, the little melody. So that's what it is for me. Follow Me, folks. Number 7.
And I should, going back then, I completely forgot this. This is more an acoustic. I think I said it was a piano-based track. I think this is the acoustic track.
Oh, it's a good thing I didn't repeat that then.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I misspoke.
Yeah. No. It's good.
It's an acoustic
that
track.
live. I think I remember him doing it. All right. How about now? We're getting up to number 6. We're soon going to be in the top 5. So number 6 is here. And Tone, I'm starting with you for number 6.
Okay, so number 6 for me, English Tea. I've gone for. I kind of know it's a bit silly, but I love it. I just love it. It just absolutely captures that essence of posh Middle England. I think it does. Also, it's got the word peradventure. Where would you ever hear that in a pop song? Which is great. And I don't know if you had this in America, but was it like a compulsory thing when you were kind of, I don't know if you call it junior school, that sort of school that you go to between
junior high,
between sort of 7 and 11. Did you learn the recorder?
The recorder?
No. Yeah, the instrument, the recorder. Well, no. in English schools, it's it's compulsory. That's what you learn. Later on, you can choose, a more sophisticated instrument. But we play, everyone in the class that plays the recorder, and it's on this record, and that kind of makes it even more Englishy to me, I think. And we all love the sort of very twee, very me.
Yeah.
And it is
a good line.
The bit that really annoys me about it, I'll tell you the bit that really annoys me. The last verse where he goes, as a rule, the church bells chime when it's nearly supper time. And then he goes back to the nanny bakes fairy cakes on a Sunday morning. So is it supper time or is it Sunday morning? Which one is it? I don't know. But anyway, I love the song.
Don't ruin the song for me, Tone.
Sorry.
Because I got it up there more than you do. But
that's my number 6.
And that word peradventure, he's very happy and proud that he got to use it. He always says that in interviews. I was glad to be able to use that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Dickensian type word for perhaps. I think it kind of means maybe, perhaps, that sort of thing. I have to say, I'm really struggling when I'm getting to the top end of this. The way that I ranked these was I gave every song a mark out of 10, and normally, you don't need to divide any of the numbers up apart from a half. But I've got songs, 8.2, 8.7, 8.1, 8.6. And I found it really tough. I've got my top 3 are all 10s.
Wow.
So there you go.
All right. I think it's supper time, and he's thinking ahead of breakfast. Yeah,
right.
There you go. I like that. I'll take that. All right. No, this is the first time I'm getting mixed up.
What track? What are we on?
Number 6. Did you do number 6?
No, I haven't done it.
Tom did 6 first.
No,
Tom
I didn't. No. Yeah,
Tom's doing 6. I crossed your name off already, and you
Okay.
didn't say anything yet. All right.
So my 6, I wanted this track to be higher, but I put it at 6, and this is where I put How Kind of You. I adore the tape loops throughout this. I love the doom doom as the song builds, and I just love the the whole, when I was out of sorts. I love I thought I'd never find someone who was so kind, as you, or whatever. I like that whole bit as well. Towards the middle of the song, but the piano and all of that stuff, I really dig this song a lot. This is kind of almost like my not guilty pleasure, but it's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the track that I really look forward to the most to hearing on this song. I mean, it's like your favorite, but it's like the difference between favorite and best. It's like, I really love this song. But I know there's other songs better on it. But it's kind of like it's like my secret friend. How about that? We'll put it that way.
Which we're trying to, this exercise hopefully is mostly favorites, more than best.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it influenced my decision, like when I get to number 1.
Exactly. Right. And I would have definitely have put this like number 2, because my number 1 is my number 1. Anyways, but this is definitely a favorite of mine. That just reminds me back of his, because he was the avant-garde one. Let's just give him that. Finally, Joe, and with the tape loops.
He was the avant-garde one. Yeah, sure.
Yes, yeah. With the tape loops, it definitely harkens back to 68, 69. So
John's the bad boy, one of the Beatles.
Yep.
The odd one.
Well, I think we were learning another one. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, well, John can't speak up. John's not here.
No.
That's why he's saying
it. How Kind of You, I think, is a terrific track.
Well, I'll forgive you, all that, because I think How Kind of You is a perfect placement at number 6, because that's where I have it, number 6.
All right.
Is this the first time any of us have agreed on one?
No.
No.
Tone and I
agreed on the last, the first,
the bottom 2
and 12.
Yeah.
Jeez, it shows you. Hey, I'll make an excuse. I'm concentrating on comments and everything. I'm missing stuff. That's why I don't remember.
Okay. I understand that. It's funny because before I've listened to this album 4 times today in preparation for this show, and I would have said that I would have put How Kind of You much higher than I did, but then I just kept hearing songs. I think, no, this is really good. No, this is really good. This is really good. And sorry, Tom. Joe. Carry on.
Well, that's okay. Well, How Kind of You. Anyway, I put How Kind of You there. Tom, another thing that I think about, I like to hear it too. I don't know. Sometimes another thing I mentioned is where it's sequenced. I think I like it very much. It's beautiful as the second track. Going into that after Fine Line. Yeah. It goes in there nicely. And I had the lines written down. I like that line. How kind of you to think of me when I was out of sorts. It really meant a lot to be in someone else's thoughts. Yep. I mean, I like some of the words there. It's sentimental, very heartfelt, soft. I really like that. And the part that you said, I did it earlier in the show. Dun, 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 I love that little build-up sound. So I like it a lot. And there it is at number 6. This is an interesting comment from Christopher. He said, Vanity Fair is one of the very few Paul songs I don't like. The melody wanders too much, like the melody for Warm and Beautiful. What do you think?
I'm not. Do you mean that the melody is similar to Warm?
Yeah. Do you mean it's similar, or
do you mean you think that the melody of both songs kind of
Yeah.
wanders all over the place, sort of thing. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it sounds anything like "Warm and Beautiful" to my
Yeah,
ears.
maybe that's not. Maybe talking about
no. I think he's maybe talking about something else. Maybe you can clarify, Chris.
Yeah, clarify. By the way, I saw a picture of Michael Caine there last night. I watched off topic completely. Dressed to Kill again. I mean,
Dressed to Kill.
Movie.
All right,
I love that movie. I saw it in the movie theater. And I haven't seen it in years. But anyhow, back to this. Now the melody isn't focused enough.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Favorite track is Jenny Wren, since it's so typical Paul. There's a great 12 CD boot called Chronicles in the Backyard. Really? 12 CD?
12 CD.
Angie Dickinson, a nice MILF in that movie. Did I just say that? Yes, I did. Absolutely. There's a great line from The Sopranos with Paulie Walnuts. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I would love to say it, but he likes Angie Dickinson, Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos. Let's put it that way. Okay, we get a good laugh out of it. That's what I like. Blame It on Rio. That's another one. How about Jaws the Revenge? Yeah. By the way, Tom, you need to see Death Trap if you've never seen it.
Yes, I've got it on my Amazon wish list again. Yes.
All right, so back to the show. We're up to the top 5 now. Top 5. All right. This is going to be interesting. Tom, start us off for the top 5, number 5.
Well, I mean, if you heard the single prior to the album, I mean, I would imagine that you have a different idea of what the album is going to turn out, because I do think there is some truth with maybe the leadoff single, maybe it doesn't exactly fit the album, but I have always thought that Fine Line was a very good opening single. I love the piano rockers that Paul has done throughout his career. I felt like this could have been a great Wings tune if done during the 70s. I could have probably benefited from some great Linda and Denny backing vocals, but I've always loved the whatever's more important to you line in the song. Love that, and I don't know, maybe there could be some truth to the the whole coming back from war kind of thing, or I don't remember seeing anything about that. I think Ted made that comment earlier, but this, I think this is a great Paul doing all the instruments himself, I think, on this one. So I think it's a really good lead-off single, and it's one of my favorites on the album. So number 5 is Fine Line. I like that Chaos and Creation is mentioned in the lyrics. Well, see, yeah, and that's the first song where it does mention the 2 words of it's a fine line between chaos and creation. Yeah, so that's yep. And although I kind of put it down before when I said it somewhat, it's a song that's improved for me since in the last 20 years. I like it better than now than when I first heard it. So, Tone, what do you got for number 5?
So number 5, I've got Friends to Go on this. So we've already talked about this a bit. What have I got? I've got there's lots of like subtle things that going on in this song, like sort of chuggy guitar at the beginning and like little licks. I'm wondering whether that's part of the George, like referencing George. Then I suppose, I don't know, but lyrically, I agree. I don't see any thing really in the lyrics to do with George. And I just said what I said when I can't remember who it was that picked it earlier. But I said about the last verse sort of sounding a little bit like either the Wilburys or Cloud 9 era George, maybe the reference. But great song. I really like the percussion in this, because there's not much drums in this, but he plays like a tambourine that instead of shaking it, he's hitting it like with a drumstick. Well, with 2 drumsticks and coming up with a rhythm, which is quite interesting as well on this song. But yeah, number 5 for me, Friends to Go.
Yeah, I've always liked the you don't have to worry about me bit too. I spend a lot of time on my own. I always like that particular lyric as well.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
All right, I'll start out the top 5 for me with A Certain Softness at number 5. I really like the song. Not much I could say about it. I have Latin-y -y Latin E flavor. I like the falsetto. I like that he's doing. But as I say, I could hear limitations. I always thought a little different for Paul. Maybe he's getting older now, but still, fine song for me, and not much else I can add to it. The song's got me hooked. Got me hooked. With the emphasis on the hard D sound. Got me hooked. That was definitely off key, I think. But anyway, all right. Let's see what we got here. If I had to guess anyway, or this never happened before, will be in some of your top choices. Well, no, they were my bottom choices, those two. But let's see.
It's not a revelation to pick what are going to be the top 2 when you've heard numbers 13 to 5.
Although I can't really.
I appreciate the comment, but yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
I can't remember because half of them because you're doing this, you're keeping notes and watching comments, and you're not as focused. I don't think. It's some reasons why at times I like to just do a pre-record of this. Let's see. Okay, number 4. We're up to number 4. We're going to start with tone, Beatley tone, that is.
So my number 4 is Ride Into Vanity Fair. So Tom's shaking his head. I can see.
4 is respectable, Tom. Come on.
Yeah, I guess 4 is
got a number.
I just think this is a great song. Really, really atmospheric.
Yeah,
but like you said, who's it about? Is the intriguing part of this song, and I kind of like the little xylophone bits that kind of go through it as well. And I think he sings it really well as well. But I think the main thing about this song is the kind of the atmosphere and the kind bitterness, I think, in the in the lyrics. While you were riding to Vanity Fair, for me, which is why I think it's
Heather.
Probably Heather is the subject of this. That to me that means social climbing. Vanity Fair is is a top magazine, for posh people and stuff like that, So I think that's what it means to me. But yeah, love the song. So that's my number 4.
Well, I agree. Vanity Fair is a tip off to me that makes me think it's Heather, and I like the idea that you don't know, despite what Paul said in some interview or something like that. That it's about another relationship. That I had. Well, maybe not. You can't say it's about her. If it is.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean a relationship with a woman either. I mean, he's not saying anything specific to a gender of the relationship.
Right,
really,
right. Right.
This wasn't, Tom. You'll probably know the answer to this. There was a song that was supposedly about his publicist,
Jeff Baker. It's this one. It's this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one's about his publicist?
Well, possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope not. Don't ruin this again, Paul. Anyway, isn't it enough that Gotta Get You Into My Life is about marijuana and Wanderlust is about marijuana? Isn't that enough? 2 great songs ruined. But anyway, all right, Tom.
Wait till you hear what Helter Skelter's about.
Yeah, right.
Slide. It's about a big slide. It's about nothing, like 90% of the rest of them. I love you, Paul. I'm just saying. Number 4. What do you got, Tom?
This is where I put one of my favorite lyrical songs on the album, and it's Jenny Wren. It's very Blackbird-esque. In a way, he has mentioned that many times in the interviews. So how he's talking about this is kind of could be like a Blackbird sequel. However, maybe 50 years from now, he'll say it was about some kind of social justice issue, like he did with Blackbird. But yeah, I mean, lyrically, I get, like so many girls, Jenny Wren could sing. But then I like the second line where it said, like the other girls, Jenny Wren took wing. Because I mean, not a lot of people know that Jenny Wren is a bird. And if you know your Paul history, then when he was a kid, he liked to go bird watching. And he's probably got a dozen songs with birds in the title of them. So I really enjoy this one. This is probably, I like this one better than Bluebird. I like this one better than, Two Magpies is another good, bird song as well. But, then you got the...
You like it better than Such a Dicky Bird?
Yes. You got more Moose and the Gray Goose, but this is
great. The great cock.
Great seagull race. Yes. Yes. And there's more. Single Pigeon, so many bird songs. But the day will come, Jenny Wren will sing, when the broken world mends its foolish ways. Lot of great Wanderlust was the boat, yes, but still marijuana was involved in the song. Yeah. What petty crime is marijuana, so there you go. But anyway. It's fine. But yeah, Jenny Wren, that's where I've got number 4.
I never really think of Jenny Wren. I mean, Jenny Wren, obviously, bird, but I like to think it was about a girl, but it's not, because not. But all right, number 4, I put At the Mercy at number 4. I really like it. I talked about it a little before, Paul saying a message that life can throw you curveballs, and what do you do about it? Just keep on being resolute, whatever you do, okay. But at the mercy of a busy day, I like to think he's feeling some of that, though, not just I think he heard the line at the mercy. Don't quote me 100% on that, but that's back in here somewhere, at the mercy. So he built around that, and I'm like, whatever it is, I like the damn song, and I like to relate it to my own feelings, and hopefully some of them are Paul's too,
I think it's kind of got a little bit of connection to On My Way to Work as well. It's kind of like similar in type of, lyric structure or, maybe a little bit in tone as well. So, but I mean, it's a fine song, but it's still not one of my favorites.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, that too.
Fine Line has a Gilbert O'Sullivan sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Are you guys familiar with Gilbert O'Sullivan? Did he make it in this show?
Well, I love Get Down. The song Get Down, I love. I bought that as a kid.
That is the first single I ever bought.
Oh, good choice.
Get Down by Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I bought that song, yep.
I think he's considered a one-hit wonder here because with pretty much just with the Alone Again.
Alone Again, Natural. Get Down was a hit.
Alone Again.
Well, I don't know where it got on the charts, but I mean, for me to buy it as a kid, I heard it on the radio and loved it and bought it. Don't know where.
Well, if you tell him that, I wonder if he'll go, "Oh, it was you that bought it."
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Ringo.
I mean, Alone Again naturally was a big hit here.
Yeah,
it's probably the saddest song ever written. If you listen to the lyrics, he gets stood up at the altar on his wedding day. His mum and dad both die, and he contemplates suicide in 3 minutes of a song.
Yeah,
but it's a great song. It's a great song.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Darren wants me to sing the Beatles. No, can't do it tonight. I've been singing Paul. Isn't that enough? Bad enough? Yeah. On my voice. All right. We're up to the top 3. And may I say in advance that for me, the top 3 are easily, I don't even doubt they're my 3 favorites on here. But I think, as of right now. But we're going to start with Tom for number 3.
All right. Well, I agree with you, Joe. The top three are definitely you know, at the end of the day, after, you know, listening to this album several times, you know, as much as there's other tracks that I really, really love on this, at the end of the day, these three are probably my favorite songs on the album. And I'm very sure that my number three is This Never Happened Before. I think this might be one of his most romantic songs in his catalog. I mean, you can definitely, you know, have a great night with, you know, a little candlelight. You know, this one, you know, play this track, and you know, this is the way it should be. For lovers, you shouldn't go it alone. As a track, as a, you know, lyric that I've always loved. Funny story. I've told this story before, but I was in Texas training for a chef position for a restaurant that I used to work at. And one night we went out and we went to a bar, and there's this musician. He was just playing, just doing a guitar, and out of the blue, he just started doing this song. This never happened before. And after he was done, I went up to him. I said, "Holy shit. The last thing I ever heard, expected to hear in a bar in Texas was somebody doing this track." And he said, "Well, someone commissioned me to, you know, play at their wedding, and this is one of the songs they wanted me to play." And I was like, "Well, fantastic job." But yeah, this is very romantic again, like I said, and I love it. Always love it. This was a instant classic for me when I first heard the song, because I'm a sucker for ballads, like I think some of you guys are too. And I think this is, you know, one of Paul's best, in my opinion.
Well said. Well stated for your opinion there.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Beatley Tone, what do you got for number three?
So number three for me is Anyway. I've got, and again, I just think this is a really interesting ballad. Sounds like I put it. Sounds like it's a song about two people at the end of a relationship, not with each other, but with other people that are kind of getting together, maybe to start a new relationship together. And I think this is very much a top McCartney ballad, wow. and I think that this it doesn't sound like Warm and Beautiful, but it's kind of got the same sort of format, just piano and voice to start off with, and then other instruments come in later. But I think it's a better song than Warm and Beautiful, and it's my number three.
Boy, is that the one that I said I thought was slight?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I called it a slight track. Yeah. Wow. Gotta give it another listen, huh?
On my ranking, I've given it 10 out of 10.
Wow.
We all hear things differently, and
that's what's great about it. It's
makes it interesting,
right? Yeah, we all hear things differently. I like that comment.
This is true. My number three being Too Much Rain, which I love that song. I like Paul's voice in it. I like when he changes his voice, goes to a falsetto at times and back. I love what he does with his voice in it. I don't know, the feeling of it. Again, it's the kind of thing where I always feel like maybe he's experiencing some kind of sadness in his life. I not that I want anybody to be sad or unhappy, but for an artist to put that in there and say maybe there's some things that are just too much rain for him, but I don't think that's really what he's thinking when he put the song together. I don't think so. As much as I would like it to be a personal thing for him, I like it, for me to relate to at times. I just think it's a really good song, and so much so that I put it at number three.
Good pick.
I really like it. I just like it. All right, so now we're to the top two. Top two. Let's see. Tone, we're going to start with you for number two.
So number two for me is Promised You Girl.
Wow, you must have been thinking I was insane when I did that.
That was my number. That was my number two. It's probably that along with Fine Line. It's the only sort of really upbeat song on it. And I really love the sort of the pounding piano on this, and it's got some nice like two-part guitars where it's got two guitars, probably both played by Paul, playing at the same time but playing different things, and they sound really nice together. And I think it's I think the harmonies, there's a harmony thing in the middle, isn't there, where all the instruments drop out and it's just like harmony. And I thought that sounded really Beatley, sort of, mid-period Beatles, Sgt. Peppery, that sort of thing. That's my number 2.
Wow.
I really like that.
Wow, I put it at the end. Holy cow! Wow, that's amazing that we differ that much on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What do we got next, Tom? What do you have for number 2?
Number 2 is the second song in what I like to call Paul's comfort trilogy, starting with Someone That Cares, then going to Too Much Rain, and then ending with Who Cares. I think that this is a very good comfort song. I love the it's too much for anyone. It's too hard for anyone who wants to have a happy and peaceful life. You got to learn to laugh. I'm trying to comfort people who might be depressed or down or whatever. That's how I kind of take this track, and I tell you, I've had down and depressed days too, and this song has always kind of helped me with down or sad days, and I'll always have high regards and respect for this track. Again, this is another track that I thought was an instant classic from Paul from this album.
Yeah, me too. I really love it.
Yeah, and Tone, you were saying like your top 3 were like straight 10s. For me too. My number 1, my number 2, number 3, even my number 4. I think they're my top 4 are all 10s. On this album, and that's something I should say about this album too. Is it's like the strong songs on this album are so strong for me that they outstrong other songs that I have, that are also good, but they might not be as good because the strong songs aren't as strong as the tracks on this album. Too Much Rain for me is just kind of like anytime I might be feeling a little down or whatever, this song goes on, and I really love how he pronounces how the F, at the or laugh. Yeah, the laugh part. I know it's not an F, but he definitely makes it sound like it's like an F. I really like how that sounds, and this is a fantastic track.
And I like the way it ends like that too.
Yeah, just suddenly, boom, done. Yeah, you gotta learn to laugh. Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
I like that, the comfort trilogy. I like that.
Yeah. When I was younger and I was feeling depressed or something, I'd put on Your Blues. I feel angry and want to die, But okay. So my number 2. Now, I often say this when we do these things. I could flip number 1 and number 2. I couldn't decide which one be number 1, which one be number 2. For number 2, though, I flipped it this way. English Tea, I put for number 2. In some ways, it's my very favorite track. I'm going to pick what's my very favorite. That's why I say it should be number 1 if you're going by your favorites, which is what we're trying to do. But for number 2, I got English Tea, and I'll tell you later what I have for number 1. If some people can't figure it out, I don't know. But anyway, we said a lot about it already. It's Beatley, I think. I could imagine that being on, for me anyway, on Sgt. Pepper or something. It's very English. I like the visions that I get. I get like the visuals when this song is on. I love the miles and miles of English garden part, the willow tree and the hollyhocks and roses, that whole stuff. Yeah, I like that he's poking fun at himself a little bit, very twee, very me, because he's twee. It's a twee song. Often, people will joke about Paul's granny music. Yeah, I've been kind of guilty of that, but he does it very well. It's part of his talents, and this is one of the best as far as I'm concerned. English Tea. I love when it comes on. I hear that beginning part, little orchestration part that it's coming up, and I just started thinking about, doesn't he stir it? He stirs the tea in the video or something, or when he's talking about it, he acts like he's stirring tea.
Right.
to have a cup of English tea.
Mm.
So that's it. Number 2 for me.
Good choice.
Number 2 for me is Jenny Wren, Penny Lane says. All right. Okay, so this is the moment now. We got number 1 here, and I think I was right. Unless I'm not remembering properly. Tom, what's number 1?
Well, I'm not going to bite my tongue on this one. I've made no bones about it that I think this is his best song of the 21st century, and it is Riding the Vanity Fair.
I was right.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's about anyone or not. I mean, it's just, listen, I think we've all kind of like been in this kind of situation with friends before, the part where you're offering friendship, but the other person doesn't want anything to do with you, for whatever reason, however that relationship, whatever led it to come that way. I mean, whatever. I mean, maybe we've been in that situation, maybe we haven't, but I think this is lyrically, it's probably his best song of this 21st century. I'm so glad that he fought for this song to be on the album. I'm glad he worked it out, whatever issues that Nigel had with it, whether it was too fast or what. Everything about this song, everything. The definition of friendship apparently ought to be showing support for the one that you love. And I was offering open to friendship, but you didn't seem to have any to spare. He really. We make fun of him sometimes for his lyrics, but I think with this track, he really comes through with some great lyrics, and and I don't think this song is a song we should make fun of him for.
All this album, really,
right?
All this album, his lyrics are great on this.
Yeah, right. We make fun of him for the silly and not for silly lyrics, and I do it as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stuff like that. We've all done that, but I don't think there's anything about the song that's worth any criticism. I like the part I bit my tongue. I never talk too much. I try to be so strong. I mean, there's times where he does that. Sometimes he does take the high road.
Always, no.
Well, not always. I mean, obviously, we know there was the little war of words between him and John in the early 70s, 70, 71. But then, you take a look at all those little dingers that George loved to give, Paul. But Paul always, just took the high road. Same thing with Ringo. He never said any really bad things about Ringo, or anybody in general, really.
And the same with Heather when
right.
When they were breaking up, she was on British TV virtually every day on one program or another,
right?
TV or evening news or whatever, slagging him off, and he never ever went back. He never went back. He just held his silence.
Right, he could have done that because, like we said, I mean, there was a child involved, right? I mean, once that child gets older, I mean, the child is the person that sometimes, has to be in the middle of all of that. So I think it was smart on Paul, not to really give us, who the song is about. It's kind of like, the "You're So Vain" type thing for the mystery for so long. Who's that song about? Maybe it's best to not know, what the song about.
It is. In a case like this, for sure, I think it's best. This one I like not knowing for sure, and always eternally wondering who it could be about, or it's about nobody. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, do we have to know? Do we have to know what's in the suitcase in Pulp Fiction? Do we have to? No,
I agree 100% with that. People want to know what it is. It's something wonderful, something valuable. What else you got to know?
Right.
So, but anyhow,
number 1, Riding the Vanity Fair.
Well, that was pretty good. I like your. I don't want to say defense because you're not really defending it. I don't think. Well, some people
assessment maybe. Yeah.
Thinking, it's a good assessment. All right, Tone, what do you got for number 1?
This never happened before.
Oh my God! You must have been ready to kill me on this whole thing.
It's my number 1. I just think this is a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Really love the piano, the bass, the strings, nice guitar licks in it, and I think this is a top class McCartney ballad for me. I think it's a brilliant song. It's my favourite song on the album, and one of his best.
Yeah.
This century, I think one of his.
Best ballads.
That is one of his best ballads.
I love how the kind of like the orchestration just comes in really softly right before he starts singing. I'm very sure. It's oh my God, this is such a beautiful song.
Yeah, there's so much subtle instrumentation all over this album, and I don't know if that's Paul, or whether it's Nigel, but it's really, really effective. It's really effective. Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, that leaves me with my number one. I went with Jenny Wren as number one for me. Yeah, it was really, really hard because English Tea is like, in a way, my favorite, as I said. But I think Jenny Wren is a superior song. I don't usually go that route, but when I'm that close and I got to get an edge to something. Plus, English Tea, I should have mentioned, is a little too short for my sometimes a song is perfectly short. It leaves you wanting more, hungry for more. But I wish it was a little longer, English Tea. But back to Jenny Wren. Well, we said everything about it. It's a new blackbird, a blackbird for the 21st century. I love the sound of Paul's voice in it. The way slightly, I don't know what he does, slightly hoarseness to it a little bit. He's trying to do. I kind of like whatever he's doing with his voice at times. I like. I don't know what you call that. And I think that, in my opinion, not that this really should matter for anything, but because I'm looking for stuff to say along with it, it's probably the one song I could call like a Paul classic. If there was going to be, you're going to put like the best of or something, hits of Paul. I don't recall now if it was on. Was that on Pure McCartney?
Pure McCartney. I don't remember, but it was a single. It was the second single after Fine Line, And I'll just say the one criticism I do have of the song is I personally think that it's mixed too high. I think it just comes in a little too loud. Whereas Blackbird, from the White Album is a little bit more, a little softer intro. But when that guitar, the acoustic guitar comes in, it comes in kind of hot for me on the album.
Okay.
Well, I find this was a very interesting list for all three of us, and I like all the different orders and things. It was
very difficult album.
Yes, difficult. All right. Well, thank you guys, for being here. Thanks everybody that watched and are in the comments. And now, before we go, let's ask you guys. You want to give some plugs? Tell everybody where they can find you. Tom, start with you.
Great. You can find me at, Two Legs, the Paul McCartney podcast that I do with my partner, Andy Nichols. And I think we're getting ready, coming up on our 9th anniversary of the show. Can't believe I'm saying that. But wow. Anyways, find our YouTube channel, Two Legs, the Paul McCartney podcast. Please subscribe. And you can find us all over the audio outlets. So check us out.
Okay, Antone, you're up.
You can find me on my channel, Beatley Tones Beatles channel, and I kind of do a bit of everything really, much like Joe. But do Beatles and solo Beatles, and also just started a new podcast, also with Andy Nichols, called Hands Across the Water. So if you want to subscribe to that, we're having a three-way conversation also with Carl Hand, who is also a co-presenter of that. So it's a brand new podcast. So if you want to subscribe to that, please do.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been way too long since I did one of these rankings on FaB GaB. I had so much fun. Got to do it again soon. So thank you, everybody. And I hope it won't be too long before I do the next one. I say that often. This time I'm going to try to make it stick. All right. Thanks, everybody.